This is iRacing.
It's where the Lotus 49 first showed up to race, and it did so with a win on its debut. Heavy history rests here at Zandvoort, so many will be eager to live up to that heritage as we get ready to watch Round 7 of the Lotus 49 Grand Prix Legend Series. You'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Craig King. Behind the scenes is our director, Daniel Costello, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. For our fans that need an introduction, let's head on over to our track guide. Welcome to Circuit Park Zandvoort. This legendary track directly to the west of Amsterdam and a stone's throw away from the shore of the North Sea has seen more than half a century of racing history. After a brief period of being closed, it was rebuilt in the 90s and then given a huge facelift in 2019 to see the return of Formula One. It retained its 4.25-kilometer length and 14 turns for the Grand Prix course, while the other three versions also stayed mostly unchanged. But the biggest adaptations were the additions of steep banking at Hugenholtz and Luijendijk. The unusual progressive banking in Hugenholtz in particular stands out as it brings the oval racing staple to the twisty side of motorsports and has produced action-packed results. Meanwhile, Luijendijk's new camber means that this corner is now easily flat out in pretty much every car and gives even better chances to try and overtake into the famous Tarzan. That said, passing is notoriously difficult at this highly technical track. And while it's much slower than its original guise, it still has some frighteningly fast corners, including G-Block. If you're brave, the Hans Ernst chicane can sometimes offer chances to sneak by someone, but it can often become a clumsy wreck if you're not careful. The amounts of cash poured into the upgrades certainly produce more than just a fresh coat of paint. The spectacular racing put on by everything from open-wheelers to touring cars and sports cars is almost never dull. It's no wonder the Dutch fans come out in droves when the green flag waves here. As you can see, a lot of banking here, Craig, and personally, I like the changes that they made in recent years.
I absolutely adore the changes, but you talk about how this is where the car first started. Well, the only thing that still remains, and that's in a quotation mark since when they first started here, was when the Lotus drove in real life. Tarzan and Turn 2 still the same. Granted, Tarzan now has a lot of camber, and that's what the aspect of this track nowadays is. The camber at Tarzan, the camber you've got almost at the mini oval banking at Turn 3. You go to Luijendijk at 14. That's also camber, and that really helps modern day cars and these classic cars as well. Should be really fun to see the drivers really tackle high speed through the bankings, but to get there, you've got to get through the rest of the track. Lots of tight and twisty elevation changes through 4, 5, and 6. Should be interesting to see how the drivers control the car. And the hard braking for the Hans Ernst chicane at 11 and 12. That's going to be a very tough but crucial overtaking point near the end of the race today.
Exactly, and overtaking kind of going to be at a premium if we're honest. So drivers will have to work hard to try and get those passes done. Now, as for the championship, it's been a little bit one-sided. Adrius Valenteus is up at the top. It is only 37 points, but that's because Adrius was not here for Milwaukee. Otherwise, the first 5 races of the season, he won every single one of those. Claridge in second did not manage to win at Milwaukee when we didn't have our current championship leader there. It was Jacob Reed, who doesn't even show up in these top 10. But as you'd expect, with most of the points being heavily weighted towards Andreas, it stays extremely close all the way from second down to 10th, essentially, here, even past halfway in the season. So watch out, as it is going to be a scrap for every position besides first, probably, for the rest of the season. But that's just the F1 standings. Craig, let's go through the F2 standings.
Yeah, Josephine Becker is having a fantastic year, or fantastic season, and in the 49th and the 79th. Didn't race the last 2 weeks, still leading the championship over James Carpenter. She is here today, hoping to be able to get a few more points out there, but right behind, look how close it is. Tobias Harney as well in third, Mats Linden also there as well. Don't see either of them here today, so this could allow some of these drivers like Andre Bruno to really make some leapfrogging. It's a very tight at the back, but the top 10 are pretty far ahead of everybody. So the key nature really is you've got to be in it to win it. So some of these drivers not here this week, they're going to be losing quite a bit of points out there today.
Yep, and the F2, definitely an interesting fight, since it is still all scored on the same point. So as high as you can get, the better you're going to do. Meanwhile, in the Cup of Nations, Ukraine is currently up at the top. Valenteus claiming them as his home territory. Japan sitting in second. Togo Hisada obviously contributing a lot to that. Even though Mick Claridge is second in the points, you have to go all the way down to fourth to get to the UK, interestingly. A lot of U.S. drivers in this series, actually, so they're doing quite well this season. As interesting that we do have a separation between the UK and England, but you have two separate flags that you can claim here on iRacing. So that's why we have those two different quote-unquote countries here for the Cup of Nations. But that aside, still Ukraine leading it. Why don't we take a look as well at what this race is going to entail?
Yeah, round 7, of course, and it's 21 laps out there today for these cars. It's about a 90-second lap time here, so just give you an idea of a pace and time we'll be looking at. It's an open setup. Make your own set. Community also provide their own sets that you can try, and some really good setup makers for these cars. But what you bring, if you crash, you're done for the day. It's no spare car out there, so you've got to keep it clean. Drive through at 17 incident points, disqualification at 25. With the way how narrow the track is, we usually talk about, will we see someone flirt with that? I'm not going to see many people flirting with that 17 incident points out here today, because it is such a tight track, and there is grass and there is runoff, but then there's barriers. It's a proper old school track around here today.
It really is, and I do like that about this place. It punishes mistakes, so drivers have to mind their P's and Q's. Now, we talked about Valenteus sweeping things. He's going to miss his second round. Now, I do believe they have at least 2 drop weeks in this series, so he is still able to recover from that, but will be a little bit up against it. Can't afford the assaults. In the meantime, Togo Hisada currently are provisionally quickest in qualifying, and he's just about to cross the line for his second lap. Cuts it down to a 34 flat, which is about half a second, actually 0.6 of a second, over the next nearest of Kevin Verbruggen.
Set his laps as well. And I just want to point out the weather today, because it is a little bit very overcast, and Jacob Reed is going to come across the line to set his first time, and he's looking really good on the pace, and this could probably put him up in it just behind Togo Hisada. But the wind today, and I'm in kilometers, I'm going to be working this out for miles per hour out here today, Joe. It's westerly. It's 34 kilometers an hour out there today. Ooh. Which to me, that's about, you're looking at about 25 miles an hour. This isn't wind you expect to see in the hills of Zandvoort, but that's going to really affect the drivers out here today. You look at Seb, just at some of these corners, he gets a bit of a tailwind. Look at the wobble. You're going to be guessing yourself, is that over throttle, or is that the wind just having a quick gust for them out there?
That's a good question, yeah. It is by the sea, though, so I suppose some of it coming from over there, you do get some high winds. But as we watch Tixier, he needs this lap, we should point out. His first one was deleted. He must have gone off somewhere, or maybe just barely brushed the wall off of a corner, as he comes around in these last few turns out of Kumho up towards Lion Dyke. The now newly banked version should allow him to be a little bit more throttle down out of here as he drags it all the way out to the exit and across the line. Does this one count for him? Yes, it does. It's a 35.8, but that is only 13th. Tixier with a miserable qualifying.
not qualifying he wanted. Pablo Hoglar as well, just coming across. He's going to do it as well. Jason Kenny, one of the last drivers out there, goes into 24th. But Pablo needs a good time. Not the time you expect from car number 6. Car number 6 in a 3,300 train for field today. He'll come across the line, and he does improve, but it's only enough for 16th position. Not what you expect to see from a driver like Joe Hoglar out there.
Wow. So we have some real shocks, and we're not done quite yet because I think Robert Plumley should be coming around to take his second lap. Oh, excuse me. He's on his third lap, so he is not going to have this count then. He is going to be starting from at the back of the field alongside Jason Clapper. Wow. Again, some drivers that are severely out of position. Some of our F2 drivers are going to have a great opportunity today, it seems.
Yeah, it's going to be actually interesting to see what some of these drivers can do, because you look at it as well. The top 6 are all single number iRacing. So going to be very interesting to see what they do out there today.
Get just a little bit of sun now. As like you said, it's very overcast, but looks like it's trying its best to give us a bit of sunshine during the race. We'll see what happens as the race carries on, as we've got our qualifying results done. So we'll go through our starting grid, which, as we've been hammering on, is not typical for this series. But one thing that is usual is Togo Hisada there in pole position. Jacob Reed will be in second, Kevin Verbruggen third, and then Rosas Guardia will start in fourth. Nicola Kaki in P5 is followed by Gary Ho in sixth. Wade Sheedy starts in seventh, and Josephine Becker in eighth. Lau Stolson P9, and John Olson rounds out your top 10.
David Rossi, when we get to the second page, will be 11th. Marco Antonio Lopez Daldago will be there next beside him. Then Seb Tixia, Kurt Clapper in 14th. Pedro Tilamatri in 15th. Pablo Hogla we just saw in 16th. Bjorn Ackerman will take 17th. Michael Sabler will be 18th. Gary Quellen 19th. And Cam Porter rounds out the top 20 with 6 to go.
Michael Grissinger then starts in 21st. Jason Tyerman will be in 22nd. Andre Bruno P23, followed by Jason Ketty. And our two drivers that failed to set a time, Jason Clapper and Robert Plumley, at the back of the grid. Just about have most of them lined up, ready to go. It is not a long run down into turn one, but it can be a real choke point, especially with the banking around the outside. Drivers will be trying to use every line imaginable into that corner to make up positions, because you could go inside, you could go outside, and either one could wind up working. So hopefully everybody is watching out so that they don't trip over each other through Tarzan. Looks like they're ready to go as the engines now rev, the lights are up, and the green flag is out. Coming off the line, not the greatest of starts for Reed, as Kevin Verbruggen is coming up the outside, but Togo Hisada is clear into turn one with that pole position. Meanwhile, back behind, as we watch the drivers siphon out of that banked corner, so far so good.
So far, so good. And let's just see what happens at the front here, because usually you want to take the high line into Hugenholtz to try and get it, and that's what Reed gets to do. Hisada was forced to the inside, and Reed will take that lead for the first time. And this is what you want to see if you're Jacob Reed. Nothing in front of you. Guardia as well with a good start. Josephine Becker up 2 already. Sabler in the background, and Hogler also up 3. Some people making some moves already, but Gary Ho, unfortunately, he's had to go all the way to the back after a moment into turn one.
So down to 26 for him, but Togo Hisada surprisingly losing that top spot. Reed, can he back up the win on the oval? Like we said, a lot of banking in some of the corners here, so it'll share some attributes, but not really much like Milwaukee. As Seb Tixier, man, he is charging through already up into 9th position, having gained 4.5 a lap.
Yeah, 4.5 a lap already as we keep on board with Cam Porter. I do wonder what Cam's going to be able to do out there today, as he's watching a bunch up through the Hans Ernst chicane there. One of the drivers taking a moment. Big crash. 2 cars coming together. In fact, 3 cars now, or 4 cars now. Cam tried to slow down, but he did not realize, and he went into the 14th there. That was him actually. It was Bjorn Ackerman that went into the back of him. Drivers not realizing, and it's hard to hold the brake when everyone's going. The Labatry, not sure you could do there. Cam, well, you got one wheel a little bit wobbly, and that's the frustration there. He feels it.
It was a chain reaction down the order, it looked like, just one getting into another, and that's one of those narrow parts we were talking about, so drivers just could not manage to avoid it. Meanwhile, back to the battle for 17th. Oh, we seem to have had a problem in front of them. I see Kevin Verbruggen dropping down the order. It looks like he may have had a bit of a spin. The car is still going. That is out of Hugenholtz.
Very weird there. I just wondering, did he get a bit too high? He got a bit too high. Will might have just clipped the green Astro that they've got just above the white line there. Probably just a little change in grip just cost him there. It's not grass, but it's designed to be a little bit like grass out there, so that may have hurt him. Keep on board with Seb Tixier, who's had a fantastic start. We've got to talk about it. He's up 6 already, and as I say that, I curse the man as he comes through turn 10, the CM.com corner. Unfortunately, just a small moment losing some time out there.
Doesn't look like he's going to lose a spot, so I think he's okay. That's Laust Olsen in behind him. John Olsen as well down in the Hans Ernst chicane. Seb still chasing on Wade Sheedy just in front of him. Into the braking now of Kumho. This is where he needs that good exit. Getting the launch, and he dips his wheels into the dirt. That's not going to help him.
Not going to help him, and unfortunately, unlike what you've got there at Hugenholtz, there is no cemented gravel there to help you. It's going to have to be all on, but John Olsen's going to make a nice little move down into the braking. Did he overshoot it? I think he may have missed his point there for a moment as he loses that. I just wanted to point out with Togo and Jacob Reed, both drivers broke the fastest qualifying lap this week set by Nicola Koshi. So very interesting to see those two completely blitz on. John Olsen, though, he blitzed a bit too much there. He went to Tarzan and more as he went through that corner.
Thankfully, he didn't run into anybody, though. So easy to become a bowling ball through that part of the track. Meanwhile, still has quite a bit of battling to do in front of him. That's David Rossi. Laust Olsen still within range. Seb Tixier now up to 6th position as he gets by Wade Sheedy. So notch another one off. A little bit of a look to the inside from Wade, but doesn't look like that one is going to quite work out. Oh, we got to go up to the lead because it's side by side between Hisada and Reed coming off of turn number 9 down into the chicane at Hans Ernst. It is going to be Togo Hisada back up to the top spot.
And that was all with just a great run out of turn 9 to go around the outside of that turn 10 we were just talking about. Really making some moves out there. Gary Ho, it's not good for him. He's had a little bit of a moment out there as well. He's losing some time, but the key thing is keeping the car clean. It's a little bit of a recovery for him, though. You've got to realize that Colin, who had a little bit of a crash out there. Gary, remember, he had his first lap after a few corners starting from the back. Doing really good out there, but look who's fastest, Joe. If these two at the front start battling too much, could see a three-car battle for the lead.
Kevin Verbruggen in a little bit of a fight here. This is on the inside of Kurt Clapper. Clapper gets rebuffed down through Tarzan. And off they go up through Hugenholtz, the left-hander now. Switching the other way with the banking. And looks like Verbruggen is setting his sights on Hoglar already. Very much leaving Kurt Clapper with his brother, Jason Clapper, just behind him, actually.
Yeah, would not want to see those two having a little bit of a moment out there, but this is Nicola Cocky who's up to Josephine Becker. And what a story Josephine Becker has been this season, the last season as well. Just really going straight to strength when we talk about vintage racing, not just the 49, the 79s, the IMSA vintage, you know, the whole free race community. They all just come together. Like you took the joke about England and United Kingdom earlier. It's kind of almost like Great Britain out there when it comes to the vintage. She's really done well, and look at it. She's a sub 3K driver. She's P4 at the moment. That's not a knock at the fact she's sub 3K. That's just a show that it doesn't matter what your iRating is. You've got to be good at the car you're given. And she's really started to work well with these vintage cars this last 2 seasons.
She's under threat. Nicola Cocky back there trying to take that 4th place away. As they head down towards Tarzan, she's going to defend down to the inside. Cocky looking the long way around, sends it pretty darn deep, but looks like he doesn't quite have the grip, at least initially. Comes back on the 2nd phase, and now it is a side-by-side fight up into Gerlach, and it looks like Cocky has got the best of her.
Yeah, you think usually around the outside of Tarzan is not good because there is that yammering there on the inside, but you've got to get on the throttle. And if you've got a car left, you want to track out on the exit there at Tarzan. Josephine could not do it. So not what she wants to see is Jacob Reed. Let's see what he can do here as they're coming to the middle section of the track. Now, this was where Togo got the run here. It was not a good 8 into 9 for Jacob. And then Togo right here saw I'm a little bit better here on the wide. Took it wide, nothing for Reed. But Reed now realizes he can't make the move here. So you look at where could he make moves here. Maybe to run down Schlottermacher into Schlivlak in 6 and 7. Maybe into Hugenholz. We've seen it before. But it would probably be into the Tarzan box. And I can also report just while talking, Jason Keddy, another man that unfortunately had to go to the pits for damage.
Yeah, we've been seeing that on our timing tower. A lot of drivers that are still trying to take repairs, get back out, salvage whatever safety rating they can, I'm sure. What surprises me here, Craig, is that Jacob Reed has not fallen off. This wasn't just a fluke of him having a better start. These two seem evenly paced with one another, and Reed is going to go for another move up into Tarzan. Oh, he may have forced Togo to go a little bit deep. This could give him an opportunity as he ducks underneath him, but no dice.
No dice either. So look, let's just talk about it. Let's talk about, like we say every time we see Jacob Reed, 2-time winner of the iRacing GP World Tour Championship. That's a Formula One. That's a modern-day F1 car. He started to throw elbows out in the Lotus 79s. We've been watching Lars Solsten, of course, on the 49. We talk about Jacob Reed. We have to put the A word next to him now, alien. But let's put the V word next to Lars Solsten, vintage driver. He is a veteran as well, trying to battle Wade Sheedy. Not a lot there. John Olsen right behind as well. No relation, of course. But it's so tough when you're in this bunched up pack here from 7th all the way down to 11, especially coming through that section 4, 5, 6, and 7. It's so tight. One mistake wipes out everybody in this queue.
Yeah, look at this. Wade Sheedy up in 7th. Lars Stolson, John Olsen, David Rossi, Marco Salgado, all nose to tail. They know how important getting the grip off of this corner is, and as they all get that throttle down, it does look like Wade is going to once again keep them all at bay for the time being. But it is early in the race. It's going to be a difficult proposition if he has to play defense for, gosh, almost 18 laps here.
Do we talk about the cork in the champagne bottle right now? Because Wade is doing some real good defending. But right behind him, again, we talk about Laus, we talk about his pedigree with these classic cars. Really, at some point, Laus will want to go. And I think he realizes Seb is now starting to grow ahead. In fact, you look at the difference. Tixier was a 35.5, who's in 6th place. Sheedy was a 36.7. So definitely holding up these cars. Not on purpose, of course. It's just the pressure it's getting, and you've got to think about the pressure trying to catch on as Kevin Verbruggen. Well, if it's good enough for one driver, it's good enough for another. He managed to get that move done around the outside, almost losing another spot, but holds on. The number 4 car making some moves on his recovery drive.
Voglar, another one feeling that pressure at this stage for Bruggen. Unfortunately, not having the race he's been looking for, down 10 positions. Whereas Jason Clapper behind him, he's up 11. Reverse trajectories between the pair of them. But coming up through Schlivlak, looks like Verbruggen is on mend. He's already putting the pressure on Hoglar. Gets close to him coming down into Masters, but it's so tough to pass through there. He's going to have to wait. Tries to see if he can make a sneaky move into the first pair of hairpins as Jacob Reed now almost manages to get an attack done on Togo Hisada. Togo is not having this one all his own way, and they're only about a second ahead of Bardia back there in 3rd, so they're not running away from the field.
No, and again, it's that whole moment at turn 10 once again. Gary Ho, it's not having time. He's going slow out there, and that looks like he's had some moments out there. Looks like the nose a little bit, yeah. Came side to side with Gary Quellen. Similar situation with what these two were doing on that last lap. Hisada's taking a wide line into 10, really going wide late, apexing it. And Reed sees that opportunity, and he wants to go for it. And he wants to go for it, and it's tough to make that move because it just tightens up into turn 10. Different lines. You don't really talk about the different lines through turn 10. Really playing havoc out there today. Just like the different lines out of Tarzan. Really causing some interesting moments as they come all the way down to Gerlach and Hugenholz.
Duggan's still sandwiched in here, unable to do anything at this stage. Gets a poor run, honestly. Jason Clapper now suddenly getting close behind him up through Schlodemocker. Sounds like we have a replay. Thought I saw maybe an incident on our timing screen, but we're going to take a look at Gary Ho. And maybe a bit of an ambitious move, but also felt like the 11 really chopped across him.
Yeah, it felt like a little bit of a chop block, and well, not a chop block like it's the NFL, but you get the idea. And again, that's kind of similar to what Hazard has been doing on Reed and vice versa, is that Hazard taking a wider line, and it works when you know it's there. And I think that was just a little bit of miscommunication there from Colin and Ho as that happened. So that's what happens if you don't get it right, and you can see the desperation to turn in as early as you can when you hear car on the left. But now this is, I feel, the closest Reed's been to Hisada coming out of Harry Lyondike. I don't think the straight is long enough. Remember, no DRS. It's all downforce. They don't really have any wings on these cars. And yeah, the slipstream's there, Joe, but he's still too far away. And that was 2 tenths behind Hisada.
But he was the fastest car on the track last time by Jacob Reed. Is looking quick right now. They do punch a decent hole in the air, so that slipstream does count for something. Raul trying his best and maybe hoping they battle a little bit more as well. We got to remember this 5 could use a little bit of that side-by-side action to run them down and make it a 3-car battle.
Yeah, we don't really want to see that, but this is the fastest that is far on track. Actually, it's Nicola Cocky, who was actually a couple hundredths faster. In fact, I just looked at it. Reed did a 34.385. Nicola did a 34.370. So we're talking 100th and a half there difference between these two. And Nicola's doing it with no slipstream. Reed's doing it with slipstream. So real interesting, because we're talking about, Joe, a 3-car battle maybe. We may have 2 battles here for the top 3. Or maybe 4 cars for the top 4 at the end of this race, if these 2 at the front start battling. And at the moment, Reed's been very patient with his side.
Yeah, and Hisada is being forced into a defensive posture as well. He's been covering off some of the corner entries, not feeling entirely safe. The more you do that, the more you're going to slow down both of you, and that will back them up into the number 5 machine. He's even closer this time. Look at Jacob Reed. He has got an excellent chance, but does Togo once again cover the inside? No, he's going to stay on the racing line, and Jacob doesn't even make a real serious try at it, interestingly.
No, he was only about 10 kilometers an hour faster, which sounds a lot, but when you get to that part of the track, it's not far. Remember, I talk about it. It's one of the hardest cars to make an overtake. That's Laus. Let's see if Laus can make this overtake work. And you can see it's so tough because you've got Sheedy right still alongside, and really he gets the inside, then the outside, or the outside, then the inside. But then the inside here for Hans Ertz means that if you've got the outside line, it works better. Laus Olsen actually gets it. They're still side by side. Now, hang on, boys. You can't really go side-by-side through Hunsrung at 4. There they are. But side-by-side at turn 5, they are. How about Schlottemacher? No. Laus went a bit too wide there, and he'll have to just concede. It's allowed David Rossi to come right up, and they're losing more time to Seb Tixier. That gap now between Sheedy and Tixier is 6.5 seconds.
Tell you what, that was a gutsy defense from Sheedy. Behind them looks like a little bit of side-by-side between Salgado and Olsen, but Salgado comes away with it. Now David Rossi on attack for Laus Olsen. Everybody fans out to try and pick a line coming down into the left-hander, but coming off of it, it is Laus Olsen who's got the grip. Down the inside is going to become the outside of Hans Ernst, and it looks like he's going to give that one up as behind. Again, it is a dogfight in there as they are dicing for every single position in this pack.
Sheedy went a little bit wide out of turn 10, and there was a lot of gravel. Whoa! No one realized it, and around goes David Rossi. Hard braking with Sheedy, that caught him off, and the concertina effect. John Olsen's going to get caught up by it. It was Laus having to brake a little bit harder than he was expecting on the back of Sheedy, and that just sent everyone going. One car went around, another car checked up, and one car, unfortunately, had to take it. Salgado got a crash in that. Olsen definitely got a lot of damage. So unfortunate for the drivers.
Rossi's the one that seemed to have come away the best out of it. Although I'm curious with how hard of a hit he took, if this has affected his steering or handling at all. Back to Robert Plumley, though, a little bit farther behind, battling for 16th position. That's Gary Quellen, taking a little bit of a peek, but nothing doing at this stage. Cars with damage all about. It's been a little bit messy in some places this race.
Yeah, it's messy, and I wonder if a lot of it is because everyone knows it's a tough track for overtaking around here. You've got to feel that this is the sort of track where you've only got a few opportunities, and it is up the hill here, down into 7 at Chivlac. It is at Tarzan. You know, it's one of those things that, especially when you see Jason Clapper, that's what I was looking, you try and get the run out there. And I am just looking at the leaders because we saw that timing tower go under 2:10, Joe. I thought for a moment Reed was as close as he's got to Togo Hisada, and it looks like he may actually be close enough to look for a move this time, but look what happened to Laus. It's hard to make a late break into Tarzan.
Here comes Jacob Reed. He's been hunting him, but every time they come up to Tarzan, it seems like he really is not interested in trying to move into there. I find that a bit surprising. But because they haven't been battling as hard, my goodness, how in the world did Josephine Becker get over there? And Seb Tixier is not going to be able to get by. Or was that Seb that was going sideways? And looks like maybe Seb having some sort of handling problems. We see him slip around coming up to Gerlach.
No, he decided that his skateboard was going to do a wall ride there, Joe, and that's not the wall you want to be riding. He actually almost looked like Josephine kind of made a move to defend and went a bit too further than she wanted. In fact, no, it was actually Seb went over to the right and the wall just came to him, and it was a lot here. Let's look at the replay. We're just going to see this right now. You can see Josephine put the car in the middle of the track. She's not making a reaction, and Seb just goes way too far to the right, and this is some sensitive steering on these cars. I think Seb may have turned it a bit too much there, and that's what caused it.
Yeah, I think our viewers need to understand that when these things are going 150 miles an hour, they're barely dancing on the track. They don't have wings to keep them pushed down. So you make a little bit of a movement, and suddenly you're just gliding across the pavement. And Seb Tixier knows that well. He's a veteran in this car, but maybe just got a little bit too eager. In fact, he's still eager as he nearly puts the nose to the gearbox, and he's still trying to get by Becker.
Still trying to get by Becker. I need to say the leaders. I actually see Jacob Reed is actually, he almost had it. And Joe, if you could watch that back, and if we could watch that back, you see that moment there. He had a shot to make a move here. Now, what's Seb going to do? Josephine goes right onto the defense, and straight away Seb said, no, it's not worth it. And now, Joe, we need to talk about this. I've heard the stories about Seb with his liveries. Can we explain what is on the front of Seb's car? Because is that Joey, or is it just a little fun between the two of them?
Oh, yeah, he does tend to put Joey Atterbury on the nose of his car. I thought you were talking about the nose art, the plane livery that he's got. But yeah, with Joey being a fellow aviation fan, he tends to give a nod. For a while, the joke was he'd put dogs on the car because he knows Joey and I both love dogs. And that did help him for a bit, but I think the luck went out of the doggos, so he abandoned that eventually. In the meantime, he's still doing his best to try and get to a top 5 here. It's been a phenomenal race so far from the 9, just considering he's lacked the qualifying at the track where you really can't get by cars easily. He's been making quick work of things.
Yeah, but let's also give some respect here to Josephine. Up 3 places. Real good race for Josephine, and Daniel was doing the stats, and usually that's my job, but Daniel was digging into the stats. It could be our first female Formula champion. Even though it's F2, it could be our first Formula champion in the 79s, and it's been a while since I've seen it. Jacob, have you got anything? No, he wasn't as close as he was last time, and you've just got to feel that sometime he's going to have to make that move, Joe. And I do know that, Togo is the king of the late breakers, and it's going to be tough to outbreak Hisada. At some point, something's got to give out on this front.
Considering how close he's been, I get the feeling that maybe Jacob is just kind of testing things. I wonder if he's experimenting, figuring out what is possible. Maybe he feels like that is a place to make the move, but he wants to do it late. He feels like he does not want to offer Togo a chance to try and return the favor later.
Yes, but like I said, Togo, king of the late breakers, you don't know what he can do until he does it. He's not the type of driver that shows his hand right away. And this is the sort of car that you need to just wait. And most people would get a little bit scary there at the moment. Ooh, did Togo make a mistake? Then no, that's how Togo's been taking that corner all race. And that's how he got the lead back from Jacob. So I do wonder is he still got something up his sleeve? Because we've not seen Togo race this week in the 49. I've been looking, and he hasn't. But we talk about how close Jacob's been getting. This is another day in the park for Jacob Reed. Like I said, Joe, you have to put the A next to his name now. Jacob Reed is turning into a vintage car alien with the pace he's been showing the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, he has been right on it. Now he's once again very, very close, but he breaks early and is not going to go for it once more. Now, lap traffic, how is this going to play a part as he ducks underneath, coming off the exit of the corner? Love these onboard shots of this car. It shows just how raw these things are.
I've always said this is perhaps the toughest car to drive on iRacing because it's a Formula car with so much power, with classic tires, with no downforce, and then you've got to heel and toe to make the shifting. I know some of them probably use some assist, but some drivers really love to go the full immersion. We saw with Seb as well. Some of these drivers love to just throw it into the H-pad. I know definitely Togo likes to throw the H-pad. I'm not entirely sure what Jacob uses. He's got that Formula pedigree. He might just use a flappy paddle, as a man used to say on a Top Gear. But Kevin Verbruggen, we get back to this battle as well, and he's trying to work, but I see a Lars Olsen ahead of a Wade Sheedy. I think he's finally got that move done.
You're right. He has gotten it done. So we missed that after it seemed like it'd been going on all race long. Another move here from Kevin Verbruggen. Is Wade going to lose another? It'll switch back in his favor, though. But it's going to be perhaps a drag race instead. No, Kevin just can't keep the grip off the racing line. And Wade is back up into the spot. He goes defensive down into Hans Ernst to try and cover off any return attack. As long as he makes the apex, he does. He is going to be back into that 8th spot.
Well, Husada setting the fastest lap out there. It was a 1:34.157. Jacob Reed actually set a 1:34.163. So those two still battling on. Seb Tixier is finally going to try and get this done on Josephine Becker, but Josephine's got the inside. And remember, Tarzan is cambered. Seb could not do anything, but he's trying to force that line, and it's so weird to try and force an outside line there into turn 2, because you know you have to get high on the banking to really get some time. Just not working for the Frenchman. Really struggling out there, and Josephine is really putting some defense up.
Checking back in with Jason Clappers, taking most positions in this race, up 13 spots. Granted, I have to remember he did not qualify, so that has affected that somewhat. But coming up through Schlotemacher up towards Schivlock. Next on his list is Hoglar and Rossi. That's for 10th.
Yeah, really good. We always talk about the Jason Clapper special. He doesn't like to qualify, and you've mentioned it, I've mentioned it, Joey's everyone in GSR's mentioned it. One day, I'd love to see just where he could be if he qualified. It could be really interesting one day, but Gary Ho, it's not been the day for him. He had that moment looking for a recovery drive, and this is what I like to see. I was seeing, is that a motion rig? It is. We're seeing what he's racing, and that's a single monitor. No, he has got VR. Just worrying there. If it was a single monitor with motion, that would be insane. But look at this. This is proper immersion. That's not proper immersion. That's the gravel. He's got proper immersion out there. It's not been a good day for Gary.
Yeah, just a little bit too deep. The fun thing about this rig, that is the exact same setup that Seb Tixier has. They share the same setup, and they're both in Singapore, so they've traded parts at times when the other needs it. It's been fun to watch, but yeah, they have a serious sim rig. Meanwhile, Wade Sheedy is still playing defense. He hasn't dropped off of Laus Olsen, but he's also sandwiched between Kevin Verbruggen and the Dane as they come off of the corner. He is going to get a pretty good exit, and Verbruggen with no answer quite yet. 5 laps to go. Kevin having been spending most of his time just trying to make up for his mistake.
Yeah, and now he's against one of the toughest cars on the track today in the state, in the line of Wade Sheedy, who's done some real good defense on Laus Olsen. And wow, that's some real struggles for the braking out there. And Laus going a little bit deeper into the corner, and you can just see the difference. And a lot of it is confidence. You also know a lot of it is also down to shifting. And sometimes if you just shift a little bit too early, that engine braking is going to slow you down a little bit more. As gravel there on the outside of turn 10 brought one Gary home. A lot of gravel down at Hans Ernst, I noticed. I think it was Gardia had a little bit of a moment last time by.
Oh, yeah, you can see if you get off the racing line, there is so much gravel just outside of where the cars have been running. That's going to make it difficult to try and go side by side. And a little bit wide there from Wade Sheedy. That's the move that Verbruggen has been waiting for. Made it a lot easier. Wade will get a little bit of a slipstream. Let's see if he tries to fight back coming down into Tarzan. He's going to show himself. And as they both break, they're about even. And it looks like Verbruggen's got that one done finally.
Yeah, I think Kevin was aware that Wade was going to try and look for a move there. He just decided, okay, that's fine. And he gave him a little bit of space and did not need that space. Here's a man that would love some more space, Jason Clapper. He's got David Rossi in front, who, again, had that moment with Lars Olsen, had that crash. Don't see any damage on him. And ahead of them is Hoglar as well, who has been up 6 places, now starting to pull ahead of Rossi. As Jason's trying out there real good. Still the hard charger, 13 places. Would love a top 10. Got 4 laps to try and find 2 positions.
It's going to be 3 laps pretty soon here for Togo and Jacob. Now let's watch what happens down into turn 1. We got word that he's been defending a little bit more here. So Togo obviously feeling vulnerable. Jacob Reed has been at times quick, but has not elected to make a move yet. Is this where he finally does it? He shows himself. He's going to try and outbrake him. He doesn't quite get the overlap. Togo's going to give him the space. He could use the banking off the high side to get the launch he needs, but he does not, as Jacob Reed is still side by side, just a little bit of overlap up through Gerlach. Now it's going to switch into Hugenholtz. Bottom side, he needs to drift up. Oh, but the over-under potentially from Jacob Reed. No, we can't quite make it work.
Couldn't make it work. Hisada realized when he lost the lead onto lap 1 that he had to go and lose it because he went to the lower side, and Reed is looking. He looked into Shivlak there into turn 7. I wonder what he could do. Lars Olsen's had a spin. Probably look at that later on. We're going to keep our eyes on the leaders. And now this is the next corner coming up right now. They're into 8, into 9 they go right now. This is where the danger zone has been because everyone's taking different lines. Is Reed going to follow Hisada? In fact, Hisada goes into the middle here. A big crash in the background as well, in the back of the field. That is defending from Hisada. He's a little bit worried.
Yeah, I heard that it may have been Rossi. Oh, again, a big defense coming down into Hans Ernst. So Togo Hisada does not feel safe. It's going to be 2 to go this time at the line. And I think Guardia just made a mistake. Nicola Kaki is going to move up into 3rd position. And there is Raul back onto the circuit, but the Italian onto the podium.
Yeah, a mistake. Guardia took too much speed going into Hans Ernst and we're trying to take it sideways. But is this going to be a move this time? Hisada, he's not dead on the line on the left of the track there. Put the car a little bit in. He knows it's on, but he can't get this run. Reed gets a really good run. Here's that mistake. Picture too far. He wanted to just pay a visit to the kitty litter. Nicola Kaki goes right on by. Hisada goes high. Tries to use the bend. The upper over and under's not working for Reed. And now this is the biggest gap that Hisada had for the last 3 laps. And he can't breathe, even though the gap's 3/10.
Yeah, when 3/10 is a big gap for you in this race, that tells you how close it has been. This isn't even really known as a slipstream track. This is wild between the pair of these two. Jacob Reed trying to open up the entry down into the hairpin. Doesn't quite get it for him, although looks for the cutback. Togo's wise to that. He covers the inside, but that's going to force him to go wide as he was just a bit too shallow. Now they're going to be side by side once again. Up and over the crest, down into the chicane. Who's going to be the latest of the late breakers? Togo has the inside, but again, it looks like he's a bit vulnerable, trying to take it in too deep. He does manage to make the corner, and he's going to hold ahead, but just barely as a car is off to the side. Not sure who that was.
Tyman having a little bit of a moment there. I think he got off on the throttle too hard, but this is the big moment here. And that was Hisada. He went a bit too hard into Hans Ernst, slowed down Jacob Reed, but Jacob was like, that's not my first rodeo. This is going to be white flag. Barney's got it. They're going side by side. The overlap is going to be there, and this is Hisada's going to have to try and do this around the outside. Tough to do this around the outside, Joe, and he can't do it. Jacob Reed gets it, but there's still a little bit of overlap. Remember, the outside line into the Hugenholtz is the best line here. Can Hisada defend down low? It's going to be tough to defend down low. Tries to go up as high as he can. They do touch, and they bang wheels as well. And Jacob Reed is just going to have to lift to hold on.
Togo, maybe having watched a little bit of dirt track racing, that was a slight slide job coming up the banking and just position himself right in front of Jacob Reed. He's not given up yet. He is still right there with Togo, but like you said, a bigger gap than what we have been seeing at 0.4 of a second. He's going to need to be massively quick. His last realistic hope is coming down into Hans Ernst.
I don't think he's got it. I don't think he's got this because he knows Hans Ernst is going to be the best. So this means he needs to just bunch up. The last few laps show, just to get through the last word, the last few laps, Reed has caught up, but then has not been able to make a move into Kumho, which is turn 13. He just loses time there. He has to really brake hard to get up there for a drag race to the line.
Whoa, he just about got into the back of Hisada. He sent it in as deep as that car could handle. Togo as well looked like he was sliding far into the corner. This could be a drag race to the line, but the finish comes early. It would take a monumental run, and I don't think Jacob Reed has it. Togo Hisada, what a defense. He fought his way back to the front, and that is what is going to give him a win today.
Fantastic battling. Nicola Cocky will get that P3. A little late battle is happening as well, though, because Deb Tixier had not been able, there's Guardian in fourth. Deb Tixier not been able to hold off Josephine Becker. It's going to be too far away again. Josephine's going to feel happy with a P6. A top 5 would have been fantastic, though. What a drive from Deb Tixier to go up 8 places to get that top 5, but a hats off to the F2 leader. Josephine Becker gets a very well-deserved P6.
I was going to say, they both ran a phenomenal race. For Becker to hang on to Tixier, a multi-time champion, Josephine Becker has arrived. That was a champion's drive right there.
That is what is going to send her into the get ready for her, because she's becoming a threat in the racing standard. Robert Plumley will come home in 16th. Gary Ho, okay for Gary, but finishes on the lead lap. The important thing there, even though it's 18th, when you finish on the lead lap, you always do feel a little bit happy. But yeah, pulling over to one side wants to forget what happened today.
18 cars going to finish on that lead lap. Gary Ho, unfortunately, the last amongst them in the end. So as we take a look at our finishing results, and like we said, Togo Hisada managing to take that top spot, but it was only by half a second in the end, which was honestly about one of the biggest gaps that we've seen all race long. Jacob Reed was second behind him. We'll get those results on screen in a second. In the meantime, I'll read them verbally, as Nicola Cocky was third, Raul Guardia was P4, and Seb Tixier in fifth position. There we go. Josephine Becker, P6, followed by Kevin Verbruggen in seventh spot. Wade Sheedy's in P8, and Lau Stolson ninth. Jason Clapper rounds out your top 10.
Yeah, Pablo Rodriguez Hogla will be in 11th position, up 5. Kurt Clapper went up 2 into 12. David Rossi had that moment in the pack, but finishes 13th. Marco Saralgo will be in 14th, and John Olsen will be 15th. Up 10 today for Robert Plumley. He was at the back of the field and managed to make a move up into 16th. Gary Quellen will take 17th. And then it's Gary Ho finishes 18th on the last of the lead laps. Jason Tyman, we saw, got overtaken there in 19th. Bjorn Ackerman finished 20th, and I believe the last 6 are all retirees, Joe.
Yeah, I believe you're right. We had that big incident coming out of Hans Ernst that collected so many cars, and pretty much all of them in this group that you see here were involved in that little melee coming off the chicane corner. I do believe Seb Tixier has joined us. Actually, it looks like we've got our winners. So let's talk to them first. Podium finishers get priority on this one, starting off with our victor, Togo Hisada. Togo, oh my goodness. You lost the lead initially. You fought your way back to the front, but it looked like you and Jacob were incredibly close on speed.
Yeah, it's so hard, very not good at my mental health, you know. He's in my mirror whole race, and maybe he's a little bit faster in the middle of the race, but yeah, it's crazy, very fun, very hard race.
It was a very hard race. Came down to that last lap with a little bit of contact. I'm very curious. Have you ever heard the term slide job before?
Yes, I will. You know, actually, I tried that midget, that over racing a couple of years ago, and yeah, maybe sometimes still I enjoy that over under the short over racing. So I know the trick, but yeah, this time I noticed a little bit later because I thought he's still on the outside of me. So yeah, a little bit late response, to his over under his stride job. So then yeah, it's really sorry to hit Jacob on the belly exit of the turn.
Well, I'm glad both of you were able to race to the end even after the contact. Your first win of the season. If Audrius Valenteus comes back, can you use this momentum to take the fight to him?
Nah, Audrius is alien. Yeah, really tough, but yeah. But I'm really happy with this result, and yeah. I'm very high motivation right now, so really looking forward to the next round.
We are looking forward as well. Congratulations on the win today.
Thank you.
That was Togo Hisada, your victor.
Oh.
And as we head to the next one, it looks like third place is going to be chatting with Craig King.
Yeah, got Nicola Cocky here with me today with a great P3, and it looked like a very tough battle to get through because you started at 5th, and it looked very tough out there to make some overtakes.
Looks like Nicola might be muted here.
Okay,
yeah.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you loud and clear, Nicola. Yeah, sorry. We were just asking. Very tough to make overtakes out there today. Looked a very challenge to try and get that P3.
Yeah. Hi, guys. I don't know what is wrong with me with this track, but I tried several times to do a decent qualifying lap, but no chance. I was always much slower than my full tank pace, and I don't know what is happening. Maybe I'm just completely wrong my setup, but anyway, yeah, I started fifth in 5th position, and I've not been very lucky again. I have a very hard fight with Josephine, which I completely didn't saw coming, and the gap started growing a little bit, and after that it was just a recovery race, and I knew it from the start that without any mistakes I will never get any position back. But the guy in front of me, Garcia, which is very fast, and he has a very wild driving style, even more than me actually, and it was very enjoyable to see drive the limit from the back. But at I don't know, maybe two laps from the finish, he did the mistakes in the chicane and was able to get him back. And yeah, podium for me. I'll take it.
Oh, you've got to take it. You had one of the moves of the day as well, around the outside of turn 1 to get past Josephine. We talked a lot about it as well. Josephine, you said it. Not someone you expect to be fighting. What's it like when you have to fight someone you're not used to seeing? Because a lot of the drivers, everyone knows their style. For Josephine, somebody newer to the series, that's tough to work out how someone's going to drive, isn't it?
Yeah, I think she's with us since a while actually, but she's improving every week, and this week was very fast, even on pace. It was she was able to get me with the little mistakes Kevin did in front of us because he spin, and me and the guy in front had to go to lift a lot to avoid any crashes, and she was able to push me, actually push me very very good, and she attacked me in a place I didn't see coming, and yeah, you're right. I never fight with her before. So when you have a new opponent, you need to be extra careful. You need to watch it. Is where he's breaking is this line. So I had to stay close to her back, like I don't know, for 4 laps or something like that. And after that, I kind of knew what I was going to be with in turn one, and so yeah, I just like I tried. I had to try it because otherwise, my race would be all the race behind her, and so I didn't want to do that. So I just tried, and on top of that, I had even the new guy in front of me, so I was in front and the back with the drivers I didn't knew very well, which is tricky, like you said, but it's doable anyway.
Well, before we let you go, next week it's Phillip Island. Always a fan favorite for Formula drivers. Your thoughts on that little track that they go to next week?
I love the track. I really love the track, and I think this car, the Lotus 49, is perfect for any motorbike track. And Phillip Island, I think, is one of the best motorbike track in the world. And I love that. I loved it, and it's going to be very tough to put the horsepower down because you have so many long, very wide corner, and this car is loves to drift there, and you need to be very precise on every inputs, and I think it's going to be a great race once again. I just want to give a shout to all the community, because the last few weeks it was kind of tough for me in my life, and this hobby and this community helped me to get around some of these difficulties, and I just want to thank everybody who's listening to me, and my closest friends, and which you might know. It's also Mick, also Seb, and yeah, see you next time.
Yeah, it's always good because we race on the track, but we are all one big family off the track. And Nicola, congratulations on a P3. We look forward to seeing Nicola Koki next week at Phillip Island. Says loves the track, Joe. That's going to be a fun one to watch.
It will be. We do have Seb Tixier waiting patiently, so why don't we have a chat with him before we go. A top 5. A bit of an impressive one considering how far back you started, but what impressed me more, Seb, 5 spots in the first 2 laps. How did you do that at Zandvoort?
Hey, hello guys, I saw some light, I came in. Well, I like to, I usually not too bad at start, and actually totally messed up my quali, so I knew that my pace was better than my start position. And to go back to Nico interview, I saw Josephine was in front of me, and when I was doing my clapper experiment, I knew it's going to be hard because she's a lack of John Olson and Ben Joko, which is a big compliment. She defended well, so it was quite tough. I was pushing, trying to stay clean, doing some moves just to scare people a little bit, but stay out of trouble. So try to make her mistakes, which she did, and after I also did my mistakes. So, but yeah, it was quite fun. Yeah.
It did look like fun. I mean, how do you feel about that 5th place, knowing the mountain that you had to climb in the race? Are you satisfied with that?
Oh yeah, I mean, when I started to look at the entries, I say, okay, maybe P10 actually with when I started to see the entries, I said P5 would be a good result. Then I did my quali. I almost crashed in the first lap and almost touched the wall. So I would have to do a clapper again. Second lap, I almost do off track. So I had to lift a lot. And when I was seeing that I'm qualified 13, then I said, okay, the P10 actually, I will be happy with that because it's very hard to overtake here. But I got some luck because I saw some people. But I didn't see the people crashing. I just hear the spotter say, go left, go right. I was like, yeah, okay. And then, so I was like P7 behind Wade Shady, which is my teammate from Platinum Racing. Hello, guys. So I know I was faster in, and I knew he will not fight too much with me. And then catch up on Josephine was quite fun then. And yeah, so very happy with my P5. Especially, I'm overing the whole season. I just turned 1 hour before the race, discover the combo, and I let Gary do the setup now. So Gary is not a Padawan anymore. Gary moved up to Jedi Apprentice now. So good luck.
I love that description, but something that feels a bit foreign. This is your best finish at P5. Can you get up to the podium this year?
There's so many fast guys now. Jacob decided to replace Audrius when Audrius not there, I guess. So yeah. I mean, we have to fight against aliens. Togo is saying, "Oh, Audrius is alien." Yes, Togo is like a half-breed alien. So thank you. so basically, yeah, podium. Maybe if the aliens try to fight each other like Predator versus aliens, I don't know, guys. Just fight more. But podium this season, especially, I don't practice a lot. Usually I was practicing on Sunday on the hostel and practice a little, but now I'm just, I turn up 1 hour before the race and just do my stuff and see how it goes. It's quite fun.
Well, it's fun to watch a fight through the field. Hopefully you'll have a better run next time out, and congratulations on a top 5.
Thank you.
So we've got aliens and predators and Jedis. So we've got some really strange fan fiction going here, Craig. But I am definitely looking forward to the next week coming up.
Yeah, next week is going to be fun. Aliens and Predators. It sounds like a movie. Well, it is Halloween. Horror is finally done, but Phillip Island is not a horror. Phillip Island is a treat for the drivers for next week. And everybody loves Phillip Island. And I don't understand why more people don't drive this track. It's a fantastic track. I can't wait to watch it next week on replay, as I won't be here live. But it's going to be one of those that is just great for the drivers. Just so many nice, fast-flowing corners. It's just a treat no matter where you look at it.
Absolutely. And don't forget that we will have more races coming up as well, because we've got the IMSA Vintage Series at Barcelona at 1 p.m. And then after that, we've got even more coming up. So make sure and tune in. A big thank you goes out to our team today, Craig, Daniel, and Dougie. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a moment. But be sure to check out those other broadcasts. And until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.
This is iRacing.